Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fed Up, your no BS nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Marie, certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist, working with clients since 2014. After swimming up diet culture's bullshit stream for so many years, I am fed the absolute up with how miserable it's making people feel when we are supposed to be getting healthier. This podcast is here to help you gain your sanity back so you can stop yo-yoing once and for all and finally learn how to trust yourself so you can enjoy food again without fear or shame while still getting to your health goals. My aim is to teach you how to detect the BS in not just the food and diet industries, but in all realms of life, because I know that, like me, we are all just a little fed up. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello. We are on to episode 2 of my January New Year's resolution series, where I teach you not only how to set goals, but also how to set it up so that you actually accomplish them and you can stop feeling like a failure every time you set yourself up and don't complete a goal. And we all know that a goal without a plan is just a wish. So before we actually get into the planning part, let's start with how to actually identify and choose your goals. And this does seem a little bit obvious, like we all have wants, we all know like where we want to be, but you'd be surprised by how many times I'll ask somebody what their goal is and they're like, I don't know, I don't have any. And then honestly, like as a human species, you're full of shit because we are naturally craving adventure and growth and newness, and we should be open to opportunities. And I don't think everybody's like this, obviously, but it's a sign of growth and maturity and intellect when you are able to, self-improve. But I also believe that it's not about just like you're never good enough. I believe that it's more about feeling more and more aligned with your values and your authentic self while feeling not just accomplished, but fulfilled. So that being said, let's jump into how to actually choose your goal or resolution. And last episode, we talked about why they fail, unrealistic expectations, outcome only thinking without feeling like process goals are worth it, and then poor readiness level. So today we're going to talk about kind of like the first mistake that we start with before we even fail at the resolution is just like, again, setting yourself up with too high expectations or only choosing an outcome goal or whatever it is. So choosing the quote unquote wrong resolution, I don't want to say that. It's more like an incomplete resolution or just setting it up so that it's so unrealistic for you at your current level of life, season, capacity. Like that's the importance here, is that we're going to be looking at more your readiness, your values, and your capacity, not feeling like you have to accomplish something because of pressure or guilt or shame or trends or anything that you feel like it doesn't align with your authentic self. So that being said, I don't want you to think about this like you need enough motivation or you need enough discipline. I think sometimes when we're trying to have some self-growth and some self-actualization, so to speak, you might think like, oh, well, I need to be better or I need to be more disciplined. It's not always about that. You want strategy, you want honesty and alignment with who you are. You want it to be value-based. This is why we often say like, you need to choose your why or find your why, because when you're doing it based on being better because you want to be disciplined, or you do it because you want to be accepted socially, that only goes so far. If you're doing it because you want to go viral, or you're doing it, I mean, again, sometimes that can be enough motivation for people, but like you want to aim at the right target that you actually identify with your goal. Like, why do you want to lose weight? Do you really care if you are a certain scale weight, or is it because, one, we've been pressured to think that a certain amount of weight is like appropriate and beautiful, but also like it's more about you want to feel sexy, you want to feel beautiful, you want to feel like proud of yourself, right? And right now you're not proud of what you're looking like, but I want to look deeper than that. okay, you don't like the scale weight, you don't like the extra, dress sizes, whatever, but like, how does living in your current body make you feel? Well, I don't engage with my husband. I don't engage with my kids at the beach because I don't want to wear a bathing suit, or I don't want to get in the pool, or I can't keep up with them because I'm out of shape, right? It doesn't even matter if you're overweight. Fitness is something that you can test. You can be quote unquote overweight or out of shape or whatever it is, but like still have a fitness level. So again, dependent on how you look at it, it might be about losing weight, but it also might be about gaining strength and being fit and living longer and those other things that are a little bit more aligned with you in maybe your 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s versus, or like when you have a family versus when you're in your like teens and early 20s. Everything is about like looking good because you want to look hot, because you want to attract a mate and a boyfriend, and you want to like post on Instagram. Like the why goes pretty deep because social acceptance is so freaking important. But then you meet with like a 70-year-old, like they're not looking at trying to impress their peers typically. So finding your quote unquote why is important. So I really try to, okay, your goal is to lose 10 pounds. My goal actually is to lose 10 pounds. So just to give you an example of myself, this extra weight gain does not feel aligned with me because I know my behaviors have changed, right? Like it's not really about like, okay, I'm more at peace with myself and I'm happier at this heavier weight, because that happens too sometimes, right? Like you kind of let loose the reins a little bit. You enjoy a social life. You regain your peace, even though you're not working out as much, and you might gain a little bit of weight, but you're recovering from disordered eating or disordered exercise, things like that. My weight gain is a direct result of me like reducing my activity and having an increased appetite driven by stress and depression. So it's not the weight gain that makes me feel necessarily bad about myself. It's more that I'm not doing the things that normally make me feel good about myself. And now there's like a physical result because I'm not as active as I used to be when I was in my 20s, right? Like I'm about to be 33 next month. Oh God. And and I'm in school, so I'm sitting for long periods of the day, and it's a lot harder for me to get my workouts in 4, 5, 6 days a week like I normally do. And I'm stress eating, which normally when I'm stressed, I actually lose my appetite. But because I've like retrained myself to eat 3 meals a day plus a few snacks and like not really avoid food anymore, I am snacking. And it's the holidays. There's like cookies and chocolate and everything that's, delicious. I was eating out a lot more, so that's not looking good for my wallet. Sometimes that's a lot more motivating for me too. Like I don't need to be spending 10 to 12 to $20 on dinners. So learning how to figure out like what does this really mean about why I want to change and who I want to be. And it's not because I just want to like fit into a size 6. Like that has nothing to do with it. It's because, well, actually, the only thing that has to do with it for me is that most of my clothing is size 6 and I really don't need a new wardrobe, right? Again, that's not good on my wallet. So that can be, again, just a factor, right? But like if that was your only motivation, that really doesn't, I don't know. I don't think it holds up for a lot of people. Or it's really hard that when you don't see that weight loss or that body transformation that you're expecting quick enough, it's really easy to throw in the towel. So that being said, I want you to look at your routines, your lifestyle, the things that make you best on, like that make you feel your best. And instead of thinking like, okay, what do I have to cut out or what do I have to restrict or like no more of this? I want you to ask yourself, I want to choose a goal. Want you to choose a goal. What do you want more of this year? More energy, more confidence? You could, I guess, look at like more peace or less chaos, more peace around your food or body or more consistency. And then start with how you want to feel, not the metric. We'll get to the metric, which is important too. But I want you to start with like, how do you want to feel? And again, like, I don't like feeling kind of like sluggish and I don't like feeling like tight in my clothes. So that is important to realize like, okay, so what is my goal here? And instead of trying to, be extreme or try to be like, no more of this, tell your brain what to do. So instead of no more coffee through the drive-through, it's I will drink more coffee at home during the weekday, which means I also need to set my alarm 20 minutes earlier. It's I want to cook at home 4 times a week or all meals except for 2 meals a week, right? Like you could I guess do that too. It's I will include a vegetable or a fruit with my breakfast 4 days a week. Like those are SMART goals, right? They're very specific, they're measurable. Even though it seems a little silly, like doing something every day, all the time, 100% of the time is probably not realistic. So start with like 2 days a week, 5 days a week, and then you can kind of build that habit more and more. And I find that a lot of clients will be like, yeah, I eat out twice a week and it's no big deal. And like, I've been keeping that habit for years. I have other clients that they try to reduce how much they eat out and then they end up like completely binging for the next month, right? So you want to be aiming at being more consistent each week, not necessarily, starting off with like 100% effort. I mean, it's going to be effort, but So something that you have done before can help, right? Like, that I know that me working out normally is kind of what I just need to get back to because I just haven't been doing that, hence the weight gain. So sometimes you can catch it early. Just get back to what your habits are. Other times, like you've never had these habits, right? So it just really depends. And if you're starting a habit from ground zero, it can be really hard. And there's nothing wrong with taking time to look at everything as practice. Your goal is to eat out less, eat more, cook more at home. And every time you cook at home, it's like a rep, it's a practice, it's a goal not to be perfect, but to practice it so that you're actually meeting your goal of eating out less, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a gourmet chef week one, but like you do that a whole year, you're going to develop confidence and skills in the kitchen, hopefully. So reframe these outcome goals, whatever your goal is that you're choosing, as more of like a direction you're headed. And then remember to break it up into the SMART goal, which we're going to be talking about next week, and breaking it up into these behavioral habits 1 time a week, 4 times a week, every day at breakfast. Like you can kind of like, add these little sprinkles of healthy habits that are going to lead to your outcome goal. So when you're thinking about those outcome goals, I don't want you to think about, I'm going to work out every single day of the week. I want you to think about, okay, what's really realistic is maybe if you're doing once a week, maybe adding twice a week, maybe going 3 times a week. Maybe just like your goal is to try a new class every month. Like there's different ways that you can accomplish the goal of moving more and working out more. And it looks different for everybody. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of, brainstorming for how to actually choose your resolution for success. And I talked about last episode, like you want to talk yourself down. So I'm going to beat that over and over and over again until you are blue in the face. I want you to realize that a lot of times, even myself, I coach this stuff, right? Like I have been trained in motivational interviewing and behavioral change. I'm technically a behavioral change specialist, but then in my dietetics program at Montana State, I also learned like all the coaching techniques that like registered dietitians are going to be using as well. So there's like a whole class on counseling people through their goals. And now I can look at it and like realize that it's actually a skill. Like it's not easy to figure out how to set yourself up for goals. So that's why we're breaking this up into like little bite-sized pieces too, because I don't want you to be overwhelmed with like, okay, let me choose 10 goals. Let me choose 20 goals. Like we have a lot of goals we want to do, but a lot of times we start all of them all at once. And we just can't do that. So I want you to think about 1 or 2 little things that you can kind of sprinkle in here and there. Or again, if you have 10 things, then we are going to actually break it up in next episode on like breaking up your 1 overall outcome goal to 12 monthly resolutions or 12 challenges or 12 actionables. Or you could also do like a focus method where you're doing 3 different areas of your life. And then each week or each month, you end up like having a new focus in that area. So like that's a really cool way because again, like if you're a little ADHD like me, you want to have so many different goals and then you end up like in paralysis and you don't end up doing anything. So having these like rolling 30-day challenges can be really helpful to 1, keep your attention span, and 2, actually like by the end of the year, you're like, oh shit, I've done 12 different things, or I've done 24 different things. Because if you do 2 a month or whatever, then you're a lot further along than starting off really like all 24 in January and then like doing 0 by June. So that's what we want to be doing, is we want to be setting ourselves up not just in the planning, but also in the method that we actually, execute. So we'll be going over that next episode. I hope this just gave you a little bit of brainstorming. Come to next week having maybe an idea of what you want to do. Maybe you already have an idea of what you want to do. Obviously, we are like in January here. So if you're thinking about it, I want you to write it down. I want you to open up a doc or a notepad or something so that we are actually going to be workshopping this. So hope this helps. Talk to you in the next one. And thank you so much again for tuning in. If you are enjoying this series so far, I know it just began, but send it to your friend, send it to your mom, send it to your teachers. Just kidding. Write me a review. I don't know. I don't think I have any reviews yet. Guys, love me. Okay. Anyway, I love you all. I will speak at you in the next one. Thanks so much for being here, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please screenshot and tag me over on Instagram or leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening from. Your support means the world to me and only helps me get the No BS news out to more people. If you're interested in working with me in nutrition or personal training, check out my programs and courses on my website at kaylamariefitness.com and on Instagram at kaylamarie_fit. See you next week.